Hey, I'm Colin Piazza, Visibility Chair for the American Society of Trial Consultants. Today, we're going to talk about how Civicom is bringing us an innovative tool called Quillit, and they're bringing AI to jury research. We're going to dive into a topic that's reshaping how we work, how smart, secure AI can elevate jury research, and why it's time for trial consultants to be a part of the tech evolution. We're joined by two fantastic guests from Civicom, a leader in research innovation. Mary Kopcie, Senior Account Manager and Research Workflow Specialist, and Annie McDannald, Global VP of Research Services. They'll be sharing how Quillit, Civicom's secure AI tool for research analysis and reporting, can help us get sharper insights faster. For more information, you can navigate to astcweb.org or civi.com. That's civi.com. All right, let's jump in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks, Colin.
Annie, I'm going to steal a quote from one of your previous videos, which I was watching, kind of prepping for today's chat. I liked it. Quillit, which is your new tool, and like quill, which is like from a bird's feather, right, for writing. Maybe it's a double entendre for an app that's going to help you take off, right, with AI. But qualitative researcher's best friend. Is that a good summary?
That's a great summary, actually. A little bit of everything that we do is from that approach of helping the qual researcher be successful. Project success is our number one priority.
Yeah.
So Quillit solves a problem that we've seen over the lifetime of our companies supporting researchers. And that is there's so much data, unstructured data that comes out of qualitative. You think about mock juries, the hours and hours and hours of content and the number of participants that are involved. And how do you comb through all of that data in a really efficient way, in a faster way? That was the one thing we always struggled to have an answer to. But the emergence of AI was an immediate problem solver for those challenges. So that's how we dove in. We dove in to solve that problem. How can we help researchers glean more insight faster from the massive amounts of content that they're generating?
That's
awesome.
So
Quillit was born out of that. Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, and these tools, they're not trying to change what people are doing, right? It's just a way to make them work faster and more efficient. And for me, coming from an investigative background, which touches on the research realm, but they kind of cut in and out as far as what we're doing in our sector over here. But it's all those processes that really mess with your kind of investigative or research workflow, right? A lot of that redundancy when it comes to going through all that data and summarizing and distilling that into a concise message. And that's what a tool like Quillit is doing essentially, right? Allows you to kind of work faster and process that information a lot more effectively, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's a needle in that haystack, AI Quillit is like the magnet. It's going to help you find it faster.
Nice. That's a secondary one for you. That's a great one.
To add to that, it pretty much removes the complexity of things. Instead of hiring another person to do the work for you,
yes,
or spending hours and hours combing through the transcripts, like what Annie said, you get free time to think, to analyze everything that you're supposed to, and removing that copying and pasting of everything for you. All you have to do is dump it all in one tool, and you get what you need in like a matter of minutes instead of waiting hours for it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. I mean, AI, it's all over the headlines. And so obviously it's a term that we keep hearing everywhere. And it means something to everyone different based on their specific niche. And there's a lot of different uses. And in our sector, it's like OSINT. I hear a lot, open source intelligence. And that means something depending on where you work in a government platform or intelligence or jury research. And AI is kind of the same thing. There's a lot of different applications. Jury research is a specific niche that we're diving into. Now, I do want to kind of preface it. This is more than just a chat bot. So when this first came out, everyone is thinking of AI means a large language model chat bot. You plug it in, it comes out. But this has a lot more features. It's beyond that, and it's specifically built for jury research. Why should consultants use Quillit, which is a specific tool for trial consulting? There's my Italian coming through, rather than a generic AI tool, like just a standard LLM?
Yeah, I guess I can jump into that. So, using a custom-made AI tool like Quillit, I strongly believe that it's just not a preference, but it should be a necessity, these days, especially when you're dealing with jury research and litigation strategy. So with this type of sensitive work, confidentiality is a top priority. So that's something that we first thought of when we're building Quillit or developing Quillit, especially for trial consultants. So we prioritize secure, encrypted cloud storage, clear audit trails, HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 and ISO 27001 certification, which plays a big role in handling very sensitive cases. So I guess that's one of the most important things to think about when choosing the right AI tool to use for your projects or for your cases.
Okay. And Mary, kind of going off of that, I mean, you're in the partnership world and working with companies, I'm sure onboarding their success, et cetera. Is that kind of a recurring question that you're seeing when it comes to the security of the information? I'm sure in a legal space or even in corporate intelligence for products and stuff like that. Is that a recurring question you get from clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if even a small leak can lead to disaster. So that's something that's the first question that we get always, that we always get from clients or even prospects. So that's something that we highlight each time, we talk about AI because it's very important. We're handling, for some cases, patient data or highly sensitive data. So that's very, very important. And the limitation of access to that data in our platform, for example, is also a top priority. So not anyone can just go in and get those information.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and it's important, for people newer to AI, the way they're building these platforms is information going in, and these are for public platforms, not in your situation. That's more proprietary, but they're learning based on information plugged into these different developers' apps and stuff like that, right? And so that's where it's important to have that security platform there, because they're taking that information and they're using it to basically learn, but who knows where that's going. And so you guys have a walled garden essentially, right? Everything is under one secure area. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. The platform that Quillit is housed in is where your data is kept, and everything is organized by client site, by project folder, and all of that is secured. It's an end-to-end encrypted environment, and none of that data is being run through the LLM to train the LLM.
Nice.
None of that data is being stored or retained by the core backbone. And the backbone that we went with is actually the most secure LLM option that you can avail of out in the market right now. And we chose the model that was going to give us the most security at the base. We have HIPAA compliance requirements, and so that's very stringent security, especially here in the States. And they were an organization that was willing to put a BAA in place with us, a business associates agreement, so we were able to ensure that HIPAA compliance carries through.
Nice.
So that was our number one priority when we were building, is it has to be secure, anything we're doing with it. We're a global company, and we touch a lot of sensitive information on a global scale, and with mock jury research, with trial consultants. So a lot of reasons to prioritize that. It was the very first thing that we discussed, is how does the foundation and the backbone of this technology benefit the security requirements of all of our customers.
Which is really important in our world, of course, and as these things are developing. And you guys are using Anthropic's Claude kind of as the integration. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I'm not leaking anything. It's on your website. So.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah. And so that's one of the larger players in the space, right? When it comes to kind of the foundation.
Absolutely. They were the first LLM also to attain that 4201 security compliance.
Right.
That's the most recent ISO certification available for the purpose of AI regulation. And they were the first ones to get certified there as well. So they take it as seriously as we do.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm going to reference another kind of video interview I watched. Maybe it was the same one. I'm not sure, Annie. But one of your guests there that you talked to in the past, people are always looking at these tools. And I've seen this, through this space and other people that I talk to, that if it's not 100% of the way there with a new AI tech tool, that a lot of the kind of old school people immediately kind of cast it aside. It's not there yet, right? And I noticed that even with our team as we're, beta testing different initiative. Well, it's not doing exactly what I'm doing, so it's not there. But the way it was summed up in that previous interview is, you have to look at the general kind of populace of who's doing the research. In this situation, jury consultants. But it would be the same thing with investigators or legal tech. These tools are really making, I think it was 75% of the people faster and better, and passing on those cost savings to the end user. And of course, it's never going to hit yet that, that top kind of percent there. But even for those people with a couple extra prompts or modifications, it will get you there. But is that kind of a fair summary, that it really is a great tool for the majority of any sector?
Yes. I think AI in general, no matter what industry you're in or what your role is, there's things that are tedious about processing information, and AI makes it faster. Any AI tool should create efficiency for you. If it's not, then you're not using it correctly or it wasn't built correctly.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think one of the biggest challenges we have with AI right now is understanding how can we trust it, that it's going to not create more work for you, right? If you're entrusting it to take some of that burden off of you, then you need to be able to know that the response it's giving you that you're relying upon is as accurate as possible and can also be validated for accuracy. So those are things that we took under consideration as we built Quillit as well, is making sure that we have advanced prompt engineering on the back end. So the tool is already coaching the LLM on the purpose of what is being run through this tool, what we're using it for, the importance of research, uncovering insight, conversational context, and understanding human behaviors, human thought processes. So we've done a lot of things to prompt engineer on the back end that ensure more accurate responses because it gets what you're trying to do with it from the get-go. And we've trained it to be okay with giving a non-response. So it's like, if you can't find the answer to my question within this data, then tell me you can't. Don't make an answer up. So it eliminates or helps to reduce hallucinations.
Right.
And then there are features such as citations and the analysis grid that easily allow you to validate that what it gave you back came from the content you gave it. It's a valid response. It's true and it's real. That's a big differentiator with Quillit as well, is that you tell it what content you want it to summarize. It's not just going to answer your questions based on its training. It's answering the questions based on the transcripts or the recordings, the text content that you're plugging into it. So it's using that information to respond to your questions and taking only the context of that content to give you the answers to the questions.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's the biggest thing, right? When you're talking about ASTC trial consulting, they're always talking about blending the human touch, with the art and science of persuasion. And with Quillit, you have that back and forth, right? The conversational AI there, and you have the pretext of what the case use is. And so you're guiding it. Is that how you guys built this integration between the human element and the AI tool? You can put in that context on the front end, what the case type is, what you're looking for. You can guide the questions as you go to get the right info back. Can you kind of expand on that and on how it works together?
Yeah, I can touch on that. So how do I put this? I think I've read it somewhere, heard it from someone. So trial consulting isn't data science, it's human science.
Yeah.
So essentially, for Quillit, when you use it correctly, so it kind of enhances the art and science of persuasion rather than replacing it. So Quillit is designed to surface patterns or highlight inconsistencies, but the consultant, they'll interpret the body language, the tone of the participants or the jurors. In the moment reactions are still being analyzed by the consultants and not the AI tool. So the AI tool can't do that yet. But so essentially, in short terms, Quillit can bring the speed and the structure of the job, but the consultant still brings the instinct and the emotional intelligence from that particular case or that particular project.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's so important for larger data sets because through Quillit and your other services through Civicom, you have transcriptions involving larger volumes of people and studies, and you have all your video interviews and stuff like that, and through what you're doing here with Quillit. And so when you're dealing with those larger data sets, that's where that automated analysis it's so much better for insights, right? Versus comparing, 6 to 8 people. If you're dealing with multiple panels, I imagine it's just priceless, right?
Yeah. In a traditional manner, sometimes you'd sit for hours and hours. Like if you're using an AI tool like Quillit, you can load everything, type your prompts, then run it, get coffee, relax, and then in just maybe 10, 15 minutes, you get everything you need and you just analyze it. So you focus more on analyzing what Quillit generated versus you analyzing and then, creating a report and then analyzing it again, like doing the process 3 to 4 times. And it might take days, but for Quillit, let's say you can just complete it in one full day. You get the report at the end of the day.
It's amazing. Yeah. And it's lightning fast, I imagine, right? I haven't got hands on, but looking at it and what we've been testing internally for other stuff. Speed.
I want to say
speed is a factor.
I want to say lightning fast, but give it 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes to get to generate something. Yeah.
The more you
quicker
plug
than
in,
days.
The more you get in, the more it will take to process, right?
Yes.
So if, like a few hours compared to 25 hours of content, it depends. But you're talking minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not days. you're not
we'll
manually
put an
coming
asterisk
through.
next to lightning.
right? You set all the highlighters down and those post-it notes, and you can just let it cover all those points for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, it's like you can always take a hybrid approach, right? I mean, you don't have to throw everything out. If they do have a certain kind of workflow that someone is used to, you can take that and maybe just kind of summarize it much faster, right? Input that data into Quillit and go from there. Yeah, that's amazing. I think the biggest takeaway, what I've been reading and watching and learning with this whole AI space since it came out, is even if you do have kind of an older workflow that you're used to, I mean, this space is so competitive. It's really important to embrace these tools like Quillit through Civicom, because you can't entrench. We're past that, right? You can't entrench in what you're used to right now. This is a game changer in the legal space. And if you want to entrench, you're going to have a hard time passing those costs onto your client, right? Whereas like a study took 2 weeks to do, and now with Quillit you can do it in maybe not minutes with the asterisks, but certainly way faster. It's going to be hard to compete if your competitor's using a tool like this or a similar tool with a different niche problem they're solving, right? Is that one of the biggest kind of like value adds, like get ahead of the curve a little bit?
It is. I think it's hard to argue that AI is here to stay. It's a disruptor in every way, shape, and form. But I love the analogy of AI being a superpower, that it's something like X-ray vision, right? It allows you to take the tedious parts of your process, the more mundane parts of the process maybe, and spin that faster and get through those parts faster, so you can get to the heart of what you're really, really great at and uncovering those nuances. So it does make those parts faster so that you can focus that saved time on better quality responsiveness, better quality decisions coming out of the insights that you're uncovering. So it really does enhance a researcher's ability to get to the heart of the matter and really understand what decisions or what actionable things can be done based on those findings.
Sure. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, Quillit through Civicom, civi.com. You guys are doing a bit of a more in-depth webinar May 21st, 1 o'clock EST. You can go to astcweb.org if you want to RSVP, and you guys are going to do a little more in the demo realm and kind of get a visual concept hands-on of what you're doing. And so I would encourage people to sign up for that. If you haven't got tickets yet for the ASTC conference, May 29th to 31st in New Orleans, and that's going to be an in-person conference, a lot of networking opportunities, but certainly sign up for the webinar May 21st via the ASTC website. And Mary and Annie, I appreciate you guys hopping on with me and giving me the broad strokes of your innovation.
Great to meet you, Colin. Thank you so much for the invite.